We got to talk some UFC and MMA because with all the craziness going on with McGregor, I had to bring on the man who's been ahead of every McGregor story before the rest of the news media caught up to it. He actually had the McGregor story a year before the New York Times did. That's right. The man, the myth, the legend. At Talk MMA on Twitter, my MMA Insider Dizz joins me on the What Kind of Hotline on 97.3 ESPN. How you doing, my bro?
Josh, my brother, how's it going?
You know what? It's a beautiful day outside. It finally feels like spring for the first time here in New Jersey, so I can't complain.
Yeah, it's starting to hit allergy season here in Indianapolis where I'm at. So it's actually kind of driving me nuts. I was at the beach last week where I went from freezing weather in Indianapolis and I went down to the beach and I spent a whole day
You done
inside.
bragging now?
No, it's actually not really. It's kind of a humble brag because when I went down to where I went, the pollen count hit me so hard I looked like some kind of mental patient walking around. I just like freaking eyes watered up. I looked like McGregor in the middle of a Dublin night.
All right, so let's get this McGregor stuff because obviously you had the story about the situation with him in Ireland a year before the New York Times had it. You know, you and I have talked a lot of times about many different things, but I want to start with McGregor on this, and I know he's, this superstar. I know that he's threatened to retire before. I know that he thinks much more highly of himself than he really should. But my biggest problem with McGregor, beyond all the other stuff, is this. Historically in MMA, when you are the champion, you are an ambassador of the sport. You are an ambassador of your organization.
Sure.
You are a representation of your division. And I was saying this on my podcast this week, and that is, I resent the fact of how self-absorbed both McGregor and Khabib are. I hate the fact that these two guys think that their own lives and their own beef can put the whole rest of the world on hold. And the fact that I would say that they are disrespectful of the UFC, they're disrespectful of MMA as a community, and that their selfishness is not just sabotaging their own lives, but is sabotaging everybody they touch.
My grandfather has a statement that he, this little quote that he gave me a long time ago, that money does not change people, but in fact, it actually brings out who a person really is. So whether that's really true or not, I mean, is this who Conor McGregor really has been the entire time? I mean, okay. Oh, it's every day. You hate Conor so much. I get all his little, common fans, these common MMA fans and McGregor, shoe shiners, if you will. That's for lack of better, just to keep it nice on here.
Appreciate that.
All the time, coming at me. Why are you so obsessed? And it's like, why were you guys so obsessed with watching him? So I can't talk about his downfall? And it's like, well, maybe you guys aren't the type that probably even accepts criticism very well at your own jobs. So my thought about this is this is very sad. Conor McGregor drew a lot of attention, not just to himself, but a ton of other fighters as well. Why would I hope for the demise of Conor McGregor? Why? Because he's good for the sport. He's always been good for the sport. Look at the numbers. It's all in black and white. My thing is that this is very sad. This is all very, very sad. The downward spiral that Conor McGregor has gone in. Let's take it back to the Chad Mendes fight. There was lots of rumors. He went on I'm not going to name the substance out loud, but I'm just going to say he went on a recreational drug bender for a couple of days after the Mendes fight. There's videos of him talking to girls who's not his girlfriend. And they're all over the internet. I mean, people don't want to research it because they don't want to hear the truth. They want to make everybody else prove it because that's what you call lazy research. That's a lazy fan. That's a fan who is in denial, doesn't want it to happen. You remember the day, it was December 11th, actually, is when I just happened to have been, somebody said I should Google his name. Somebody tipped me off about the article that came out of Europe, that there was an in quotes, Irish sports star, a worldwide known Irish sports star. I had to Google who what other sports stars came out of Ireland. James McLean, the soccer player, was the only other guy that I could think of, and I had to Google him. I didn't even know who he was because I don't follow soccer. Sorry, guys. Sorry to all you soccer fans. I apologize. But James McLean, 2 days afterwards, had to go onto his Instagram and say, guys, it's not me. The minute I saw this, I just had a Conor McGregor feel to it. And I said, oh, boy, here we go. I believe was the exact tweet that I put out. Starting from the Mendez fight, I mean, what all's happened since then? He smashed some guy's phone like Hillary Clinton. And who knows? Why did he smash somebody's phone? Could it be because he was with somebody that he didn't want his girlfriend to find out about there at the hotel? I'm not going to keep making accusations. It's my job in this world to put thoughts in your head to make you think. He's thrown a dolly at a bus that got him in trouble with the commission. Now there's this rape allegation that's coming out of Dublin. Last year, it hit the Irish newspapers. It was really quiet here, but also he was sought after for assaulting an elderly gentleman in the middle of a nightclub. That elderly gentleman was believed to have been the father of a known hitman from the Kinahan cartel. Just short backstory, Kinahan cartel is responsible for the drugs that are ran from Ireland all the way into Russia, and it is headed by a guy by the name of Christy Kinahan. He is called the Dapper Don. This guy is a very sought-after individual by authorities, and he is watched all the time, even by the CIA. Conor McGregor has associations with two guys who push drugs for that cartel. The names are very easily found. All you have to do is Google it. This is not hard stuff. If anybody wants to find out what Conor McGregor's into, Google some of this stuff. Find out. I did. It wasn't that hard. You're trying to tell me that somebody who's sitting at home and goes to work and does a blue-collar job every day and then does this for a hobby, I can find out all this stuff in 30 minutes and everybody else is taking months to find out? Give me a break. I have sources because of who I am, I do have sources. And I do have sources saying that the DPP, which is the Department of Protection of People, which is, for anybody listening, that is similar to our Attorney General here in the United States. In Ireland, when they go quiet out there, when the investigation goes quiet, that's not a good thing. It's kind of like a sea serpent who goes quiet and he gets to work. It's because he's actually working. He's digging. He's getting ready to set his prey up. So this is not good for Conor. This whole rape allegation thing, it was alleged that he offered this young lady, 20 years old, who is also a friend to his girlfriend Dee, $3.5 million, and she turned it down. This is alleged, obviously, but if any of this stuff is true, I mean, what a tragic turnaround in the story of Conor McGregor. You had a guy, everybody loved this guy. My cousin, who doesn't watch MMA, is coming over, to watch pay-per-views with me that have Conor McGregor on it. Now he's turned off by it. He was like, that guy's into this now? He's like, nah, I'm good. And that seems to be a lot of the reaction from people who've been paying attention to Conor. And anybody who is looking at this, and I would just say objectively, I don't hate Conor. In fact, Conor's got a problem. Everything that he's doing, the infidelity, the violent outlashes, the benders, so to speak, allegedly, all this stuff right here comes back to one thing. He's on some kind of heavy substance, it appears. And if he is, then I call on Conor McGregor to go to rehab and straighten himself out. That's my call out for Conor McGregor. If I'm going to call out McGregor, I don't give a rip about getting in a cage with him somewhere and taking a punch to the face for $20 million. I don't care. Keep the money. Go to rehab. Better yourself. That's my call out for Conor McGregor. I'm serious about this because I've seen drugs ruin a lot of people. I've seen drugs ruin people that I love. And to see somebody like Conor, who came from nothing, who had to who almost missed his flight to his UFC debut to cash in his welfare check, to suddenly become this multimillionaire and to ruin it this way, 1,000,000% my call out to McGregor is go get rehab and get your life back on track. Because as of right now, you can go ahead and sign all the clothing deals, whiskey deals, anything you want. None of that is going to make up for you being dead before you're 35 because of a drug problem you have.
Follow on Twitter at Talk MMA for all your MMA news. My man Dizz, let's touch on a couple of things that are not McGregor related. This whole situation with the UFC and ESPN has really evolved very quickly, and I think for the first time in a long time, the UFC has something that they've never experienced before. They have a media partner who is just as much invested in the promotion of their sport as they are. This is something that they did not experience with Fox Sports. And in fact, you and I both know that Fox Sports multiple times violated their contract with the UFC. This is something that the UFC did not experience very much when they were with Viacom with Spike TV. The ESPN is promoting them. They are invested in them in a way that they've never experienced before. And, you know, you got to think Dana White is beyond happy with the relationship, and it's only been a few months.
Isn't he happy? I mean, seriously, you can see the glow on the man's face. Look what has happened. Look what has happened with the UFC ever since. And I'm just going to message real quick. I'll get back to this in a minute. I have to give a shout out to AJ Benza for bringing to light the other day that McGregor also has a second paternity suit possibly out there. So I have to give him a shout out real quick. And good work by that guy. Back to the ESPN thing is that the ESPN was promoting. I felt like they were kind of teasing the UFC a little bit when they were in that 7-year relationship with Fox. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, hey, you know, okay, you see a girl on the corner and she's with some bonehead boyfriend, right? And then you just kind of show her some class and show her a little bit of what it could be like. That's kind of what ESPN was doing. ESPN was kind of being that guy standing on the corner waiting for her to dump that boyfriend and just showing them a little bit of what it could be like. And then what happens, ESPN shows up and says, hey, listen, this could be a beautiful marriage. And it turns out so far it has been a beautiful marriage. The UFC debut on ESPN did nearly 2 million views. It smashed the Fight Night record. Mm-hmm. That's incredible. I mean, what they've done so far. And plus, not only that, but the production is better, too. There's a couple of people I didn't really care for them to bring over from Fox to ESPN, but it is what it is. I guess we're going to have to, you know, deal with it. But what I've seen so far is and the app works great. And of course, you obviously being an ESPN affiliate, I have to talk about how well the ESPN Plus is. And if you don't have ESPN Plus, by all means, it's just $5 a month, guys. Go get you ESPN Plus, enjoy some fights, and enjoy some archives too. I've seen some incredible sports content on there, including boxing. I just watched Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier and George Foreman the other night. Indianapolis 500. Everybody knows I'm a big time race fan. They had Indianapolis 500 dating all the way back to 1967 when AJ Foyt won. And I was just like, oh, I was excited about this. This is a great marriage to watch from sitting from the outside. You know, on the outside looking in, so far ESPN has upheld their bargain, and now it's just going to be up to the UFC to continue to deliver excellent fights on there. What do we have? We just watched Justin Gaethje and Edson Barboza. We just watched Justin Gaethje and Edson Barboza on ESPN. That possibly could have been a co-main event on a pay-per-view, but we got that on ESPN.
Previously that would have been on FS2.
Yeah, exactly. Previously it would have been on the substation. This is a great marriage. Hey, how do you not like? I mean, look at all the fights that we've seen on there so far. Everybody, and some of them I've been able to see while I was on the road. Thank you to my ESPN Plus app. So I'm not complaining, and I see a lot of other fans not complaining either, especially when the other problem with that was that they had on Fox. Okay, yeah, let's watch the Baltimore Orioles, on, well, they're still wrapping up their game. Oh, well, now they're in overtime. Hey, UFC, you're going to have to take a back seat here.
Right.
And then how many people actually had FS2? It was kind of what World Series of Fighting's problem, which is now PFL. It was kind of their problem back in the day with NBC Sports Network. Not a lot of people had that extra package to pick up NBC Sports Network.
Oh, and conveniently, PFL is now on ESPN, too.
Isn't that amazing? And everybody should tune into PFL.
Funny how that works, right?
Hey, they had a successful first season. They paid out 7 $1 million paychecks to winners of their tournaments.
They broke ratings records.
They broke their own ratings records, and not to mention, nobody else is doing it like Professional Fighters League right now. Mm-hmm. Nobody has the season setup that they have, the point scoring, the structure that they have, and also they've got some good owners. And the president, Ray Sefo, who's in the Kickboxing Hall of Fame, he's been on board with this since day one, and so have I. Just ask him. So if ESPN now has the UFC, and they now have Professional Fighters League, it's incredible what they're doing. I'm glad to see Professional Fighters League finally getting that push. It was almost kind of like they had to prove themselves first. People are a little skeptical at first, and they were kind of like, I don't know about this. You know, it is World Series of Fighting still. And then when they got a taste of the season, they were like, all right, this is kind of cool. You know, and now people are finally starting to catch on to Professional Fighters League. I'm very happy for them.
Real quick, I'm running late for the break. Before I let you go, I know you had a little breaking news you wanted to drop on here about the UFC.
Yes, so keep an eye on the Contender Series. There is an undefeated featherweight fighter by the name of Lance Lawrence who is going to finally get his chance to showcase his skills. He's 5-0. He's never been outside the first round. It's all submissions and referee stoppage by TKO. And watch out for Lance Lawrence. He was an alternate for the Ultimate Fighter at one point. They thought that he was good enough. Sean Shelby finally tapped him and said, "Let's go, brother." And he has been fighting for an organizations like Valor Fights and Hard Rock MMA, which Hard Rock MMA has been a very long-running regional promotion. Over 100 shows put on. They're amazing.
Follow him on Twitter at Talk MMA. My friend Dizz, always appreciate you coming on the show, giving us some insights and some extended time, and we'll catch up again soon.
Hey, thanks for having me on. You guys are great. ESPN, love you guys.